The Phineas and Ferb Iceberg Explained. Phineas and Ferb was another one of those classic shows that I used to watch as a child. I remember coming home stressed out from school and streaming the episodes on YouTube since we didn't have cable television. It was a great distraction, but I never got too deep into learning about the lore or even how the show was produced. The first episode aired on August 17th, 2007, and spanned all the way until the series finale on June 12th, 2015, with a total of 4 seasons. I'm going to be referencing 2 iceberg images in the video just to spice it up a bit. Shout out to the creators of the iceberg, Final Vortex and Benams5211. If you end up enjoying the video, be sure to subscribe and drop a like. It helps out the channel a lot. Other than that, let's get into the iceberg and see how far it goes. 104 Days of Summer Vacation. 104 Days of Summer Vacation is the infamous lyric in the intro's theme song. Though normally American summer vacations aren't 104 days, this set number was used because co-creator Dan Povenmire only expected the show to last 52 episodes, like most Disney Channel shows lasted at the time, and there were 2 segments per episode, making it 104. This always confused the hell out of me as a kid when I only counted like 65 days on my break. Perry's origin. Perry was adopted 5 years ago by the Flynn Fletcher family from an animal shelter run by the OWCA, which stands for the Organization Without a Cool Acronym. The boys chose him because of his wall-eyed gaze that made him appear as though he was looking at both Phineas and Ferb at the same time. When they adopted the platypus, he was given the name Bartholomew, but they renamed him Perry as soon as they got home. CATU. Phineas and Ferb the movie, Candace Against the Universe, abbreviated CATU, is the animated film inspired by and based on the original series. Phineas and Ferb set out to go across the galaxy to rescue Candace, who has been abducted by aliens and has been found on a far-off utopia, on a planet free of her brothers. The film takes place before the final episode of the series. On April 11th, 2019, after years of silence and being stuck in production hell, Disney finally announced that a Phineas and Ferb feature-length film would be made by Disney Television Animation as an exclusive for the Disney Plus service, and would feature most of the original voice cast reprising their roles, though writer Jen Bernstein confirmed that the new movie is unrelated to the previous production, which was originally about the animated characters ending up in a live-action world. Front-facing Phineas. If you don't know already, front-facing Phineas went viral online due to the uncanny look of the character when staring directly at the camera. Some think it's genuinely funny, being used in a lot of memes, while others find it unsettling, but what else are you to expect from a character with a 2D triangle head? Marvel crossover. This entry is in reference to the episode that featured characters from the Marvel Universe. It aired on August 16th, 2013 on Disney Channel. Characters Iron Man, Spider-Man, Hulk, and Thor stand powerless after being struck by Dr. Doofenshmirtz's power drainator invention. Once the supervillains Red Skull, Whiplash, Venom, and MODOK find out that Dr. Doofenshmirtz is responsible for robbing the superheroes of their powers, they seek him out and together create mayhem in Danville. Meanwhile, Phineas and Ferb do everything they can to restore the superheroes' powers before the evil villains take over the world. Candace tries to help out, but her actions do more harm than good, which causes a rift between her and Phineas. Star Wars crossover. Phineas and Ferb Star Wars is a 1-hour-long special that aired in the summer of 2014 on Disney Channel. Phineas and Ferb fight against each other in the episode, making it one of the first times any real conflict has been seen between the two of them. The episode is stated to be non-canon, although it is vague whether it is referring to the canon of the show or the movies. Phineas and Ferb video game. Phineas and Ferb is a video game for the Nintendo DS based on the TV show of the same name. It was later followed by Right Again in 2010. You control Phineas and Ferb throughout the game. Phineas can open up toolboxes, scavenge for spare parts, communicate to each other's characters, access Perry to save the game, and blow up birds' nests to find items to prevent Candace from finding out what they're up to. Ferb can repair broken objects and use the vacuum to suck up parts for a course. When Ferb encounters a broken object, the player is assigned a task from hammering nails to using a jackhammer to break rocks. Now let's move on to the surface level. Live stage show. Disney's Phineas and Ferb, the best live tour ever, referred to in advertising as Disney's Phineas and Ferb Live, was a live stage show produced by Field Entertainment under the license from Disney, which toured North America from August 2011 to May 2012. After a summer vacation of their own, the tour resumed on August 24, 2012, ending in Chattanooga, Tennessee on February 18, 2013. The 90-minute show featured live actors in costumes for the characters. Some are full-body suits, including Phineas and Perry the Platypus. Other characters, including Candace, Jeremy, Isabella, and Baljeet, are wearing costumes that resemble the characters' clothing and masks with the characters' haircuts and large goggles for eyes. A few backup dancers and a henchman for Dr. Doofenshmirtz also appear. The show features one original song written for the production, while the rest are reworked versions of the songs from the television show made to fit the characters singing them. Dr. Doofenshmirtz also sings a melody of Broadway hits. Not gonna lie, live action Phineas and Ferb is kinda nightmare fuel. I mean, who thought it was a good idea to give Baljeet large eyes? Take Two with Phineas and Ferb. Take Two with Phineas and Ferb is a series that started on Disney Channel US from December 3rd, 2010, which features Phineas and Ferb interviewing well-known guests, including Seth Rogen, Andy Samberg, Tony Hawk, and Randy Jackson. The concept was first reported by the New York Times in June 2010. An article about Disney's plans regarding making Phineas and Ferb into a franchise appeared. Although in the United States the show has ended, Disney Channel Latin America made exclusive episodes with Hispanic actors. Family Guy references. In the episode Nerds of a Feather, Doofenshmirtz holds up the autograph line to talk to a famous celebrity, Jeff McGarland, who was voiced by and a parody of Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy. Jeff McGarland was the creator of a made-up sitcom called Orphan Girl, the title being an inverse and a play on words of Family Guy. Jeff set up a cutaway to his show in the same style of the cutaways in the Family Guy shows. Dan Povenmire used to be a writer on Family Guy before going on to make his own show, which of course would be Phineas and Ferb. Dan Povenmire says that the comedy of Phineas and Ferb is a mixture between the comedy of Family Guy and SpongeBob SquarePants. Ocelot. This is in reference to Dr. Doofenshmirtz's backstory. The mother Ocelot was Heinz Doofenshmirtz's adoptive mother. After his parents disowned him, she adopted Heinz and raised him as her own son with her mate. She was shown when Heinz was telling Second Dimension Heinz about his backstories and that they were all worse than his backstory. Giant Baby Head. The inexplicable giant floating baby head is a mysterious being that appears very randomly. While they tend to appear in some of Phineas and Ferb's or Dr. Doofenshmirtz's big ideas, they are clueless as to where they come from. The giant baby head idea came from, according to Dan Povenmire, on one of the board's panels drawn by Mike Diedrich. Rob Hughes thought it was hilarious and made a whole bit about it. Now it just shows up all the time. The baby head is seen in the Phineas and Ferb video game as well. Doofenshmirtz is Phineas's dad. So, it was revealed that Dr. Doofenshmirtz once dated Phineas and Ferb's mom, Linda, and that they later broke up. This theory proposes that the reason why Phineas's head resembles Dr. Doofenshmirtz's head is because he's his biological father. Not only do they share physical traits, but they are also similar in the way that they both like to create and experiment. What do you guys think? Candace is delusional. In this theory, Candace is suffering from the early symptoms of schizophrenia, which is just starting to present itself. The onset of schizophrenia generally doesn't occur until the teenage years or early adulthood. Candace is 14. According to Wikipedia, in 40% of men and 23% of women diagnosed with schizophrenia, the condition manifested itself before the age of 19. The condition seems to worsen when she's left alone and with the boys. I believe that it's the stress of being left in charge that triggers the symptoms. The show occurs primitively from Candace's viewpoint. None of the crazy things that Phineas and Ferb do actually happen. They are just creative and imaginative boys who like to play pretend games. Candace is suffering from paranoia, delusional fantasies of grandeur and hallucinations, misinterpreting their pretend games as actually happening. For the delusionals, this act is almost real. Building a roller coaster that will send them into outer space is real to Candace, when in reality, they may just be building it with Legos or toys in the backyard. Phineas and Ferb saw Agent P. Phineas and Ferb have seen Perry as Agent P 4 times, and twice in a dream. The first time they thought he was a toy design for Perry the Secret Agent Platypus in the Toy World episode, and the second was when he was part of a video game called Brain Drain. Now let's move on to the Dark Waters. Doof's Daily Dirt. Doofenshmirtz's Daily Dirt was a weekly YouTube series starring Heinz Doofenshmirtz that premiered on January 3rd, 2013. In the 13-episode miniseries, Doofenshmirtz, voiced by Dan Povenmire, talked about current events, pop culture, music, the internet, life, and all things perplexing. According to the press release, unlike the series, the show was animated with Adobe Flash. On May 17, 2013, Disney announced that 26 more episodes were picked up to be released throughout the summer. On March 10, 2014, Disney XD in the United Kingdom began screening the episodes from Monday to Thursday. Roller Coaster Original Pilot. Roller Coaster is the first episode of the series. In the episode, Phineas and Ferb construct a roller coaster from their backyard out to the whole city for themselves and the neighborhood kids to enjoy. Meanwhile, Perry the Platypus attempts to thwart Dr. Doofenshmirtz's evil plan to reverse the rotation of the Earth. The pitch reel features some extended scenes and dialogue that were cut or altered from the pilot roller coaster. The characters were also in different colors. Phineas wore a red and yellow shirt with green shorts. Candace had dark red hair and green clothing. Isabella had brown hair, a yellow bow, and blue shoes. And Dr. Doofenshmirtz wore a red shirt instead of a black shirt. He also had blonde hair. Doof's original name was also Dr. Heinz Mittelschmertz. Phineas had more of an adversarial role when interacting with other characters, being more cold-hearted with his comments. Phineas and Ferb and Gravity Falls crossover. Since there is no official crossover, this entry may be referencing this image right here, depicting an Easter egg by the animators, a unicorn turtle or tortoise of some sort. Napkin sketch. This entry is in reference to the first ever sketch of the main characters of the series, designed by Dan Povenmire, presented alongside the early designs of the other characters, but this one is specifically Phineas. Perry the Platypus's girlfriend. This may be referencing to the fanfiction art of Perry the Platypus and the non-canon character Philian, his girlfriend, which is surprisingly popular with 4 million views on one YouTube video alone about it. Disney wanted Perry to get a girlfriend, though the creators declined. Buford's Molds. In the episode Doofapus, where Dr. Doofenshmirtz turns himself into a platypus to defeat Perry in a battle, Buford revealed that he has a life-size mold of all of his friends, which is pretty creepy but funny at the same time. It's kind of a less blatant adult joke. Ferbs. This entry is referencing how Ferb is short for Ferbs. It was officially stated by Dan via Twitter. Balgi Swearing. This is in reference to Where the Heck Were We, an unused song written for the roller coaster musical, in which Lawrence, Buford, Baljeet, and Irving question as to why they weren't there on that fateful day that they made the roller coaster, explained by John Coltonberry, stating, "This is a jokey song I wrote for Phineas and Ferb's roller coaster, the musical. I thought it was funny that Dad, Buford, Baljeet, and Irving weren't in the original roller coaster episode, which was the first one Dan and Swampy wrote. So I came up with this song to explain it. Obviously, it was not included in the episode, so it's not technically an official Phineas and Ferb song, and therefore doesn't fall under the same do not post restrictions as the other Phineas and Ferb demos Martin and I were asked to take down. I still kinda dig it though, and wished it had gotten in." Now let's move on to The Abyss. Perry the Platypus's color is scientifically correct. This one is explained via a TikTok. Take a look.
Okay, so about 20 years ago, I designed this character. Perry the Platypus! And I colored him a teal green because I just thought it looked cool, but since then I've had to answer this question a lot.
So why is he green?
I just thought it looked cool.
You know, platypuses aren't green.
And kids' heads aren't triangles. What's your point? But guess what just happened? This is a real thing that just happened. They just discovered that platypuses have a special kind of bioluminescence, and in ultraviolet light, they glow green. I called it! Ah,
Patty the Platypus, why are you green again? Is it because Dan was decades ahead of the scientific community?
I'm very pleased with myself.
Airsaw can edits. Since at least May of 2011, the episode where Doofenshmirtz plans to leave behind a legacy by burning his name into the atmosphere using ozone depletinator, a line was replaced due to a complaint Disney received from the Consumer Airsaw Products Council. However, the iTunes releases still contain the original dialogue. The email sent by the Consumer Airsaw Products Council reads, "To whom it may concern, this email is regarding misinformation on the Phineas and Ferb cartoon episode titled Ain't No Kitty Ride. In the episode, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is gathering up the aerosol cans in order to spray his name into the sky and burn a hole in the ozone layer. We are writing because of the very negative tone towards aerosol products and blatant misinformation presented in the cartoon. The cartoon states that the aerosol products contain ozone-depleting propellants that will be used for the aerosol-propelled ozone depletinator, and the ozone-depleting gases therefore destroying the protective ozone layer. The fact is, consumer aerosol products have not contained the ozone-depleting propellants chlorofluorocarbons for over 30 years. In the mid-1970s, scientists discovered that the CFSCs may have been damaging the Earth's upper ozone layer. At that time, many aerosol products did use CFSCs as propellants. However, the product manufacturers voluntarily began removing CFCs from aerosols prior to the... Okay, this is just a bunch of baloney, dude. Stop covering it up. Take a look at the original scene.
Oh, nice one. Catch the villain in his own trap. That's not ironic, Perry the Platypus. It's cliche, that's what it is. It's just plain lazy on your part. Oh, you know what? I don't come to your house and... Wait, this doesn't have any chlorofluorocarbons in it at all. These aerosol cans are completely harmless. What was I thinking?
Zebra. The talking zebra is a being that exists as a figment of Candace Flynn's imagination, or so we thought. For unknown reasons, he always calls her Kevin. The talking zebra's presence in another dimension could be seen as evidence that he is not a hallucination at all, like Candace and many others have thought him to be. Alternatively, she may have just imagined the zebra in that dimension as well, as no other characters in that scene seem to notice the zebra being there. Monogram thinks Vanessa and Stacy are lesbians. I couldn't find any evidence for this one other than fanfiction of Vanessa and Stacy together romantically, to put it lightly, and also there's Monty's and Vanessa's relationship thing going on, so I don't think it's true. Here's the clip that it's most likely referencing though. Thaddeus and Thor. In an episode, the Flynn Fletcher's neighbors have relatives visiting who bear an uncanny resemblance to Candace, Phineas, and Ferb. In fact, older sister Mandy has two younger brothers as well, Thaddeus and Thor, who drive her crazy with their ambitious projects. Although Candace and Mandy initially bond, they soon compete, urging their brothers to build the best backyard fort. Meanwhile, Perry finds himself in the middle of Dr. Doofenshmirtz's family reunion when Dr. Doofenshmirtz tries to win the annual Cakeball tournament with the Cakeinator 5000. While Thor bears an uncanny resemblance to Ferb, he also bears some resemblance to Brian from Family Guy. Doofenshmirtz is trans. This theory might derive from the fact that he's self-conscious about his high-pitched voice. He was forced to wear dresses during his childhood as well, and his father named his dog Only Son. Also, I think there's an episode where he says that he hates people with beards because he finds growing one to be really hard and he could never do it. But this ultimately doesn't mean that he's trans. The imagination theory. The Phineas and Ferb imagination theory says that the real Candace has lost her mind due to bad things happening in her life. The theory says that Phineas was her little brother and he was bullied a lot in school because the other kids thought that he was too nerdy. One day a bully punched Phineas in the head really hard and it ended in him being killed. That day changed Candace forever. Candace couldn't deal with Phineas's death, so she built an imaginary world where he was alive and playing with her stepbrother Ferb. Ferb has a disability and can't talk or do much, but she imagines him and Phineas going on great adventures together. The real reason why her mother can't see the things that Phineas and Ferb build is that, well, put it simply, she's just making it all up. The villain of the show, Dr. Doofenshmirtz, is actually Candace's psychologist, whom she sees weekly. Thank you guys so much for watching this far. If you enjoyed and want to support, subscribe and drop a like. It really helps out my channel. Other than that, stay tuned as I will drop more videos in the future. Later.